last year, there's this place I've always wanted to go. It's called the Oil Sands in Alberta. It's basically the biggest mining operation in the world, if you look at it cumulatively.
Yeah.
So they have shovels and fleets of just hundreds of 400-ton trucks out there. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. And they're always, I mean, Finning Cat, the cat dealer alone, just in that one area, does at least $250 million a year.
Just for them?
Just for them, which is
$250
million just in that, and they do half of Canada. So they're big money. But so we went up there in August, and we kind of just went up there, and we got into the mine with a contractor that was doing work in there.
Yeah.
But they were running 6015s, which are cool.
Yeah.
But significantly less cool when there's like shovels like that all over the place. And we couldn't take pictures of anything. We couldn't talk about anything. We had to just ignore the operation around us and focus on these little fucking excavators. Kind of fiddle fucking around in the bottom of the pit. And I told myself, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to get the right permissions I need to actually capture this place, which was a pipe dream. These are some of the biggest mining companies in the world. No fucking way. It's like asking Facebook for, you know, you work at a data center, like, oh, hey, Facebook, could we post some pictures on the internet? Let's tell you to fuck yourself.
Yeah.
But we just an hour ago got permission.
Oh, there you go.
From Suncor and Syncrude. Full permission to go photograph and record the operations, which is...
That's cool.
It's so cool.
So you saw it, but now you get to actually bring it home.
And so we saw it in summer.
Yeah.
But they're slower. They're faster in winter than they are summer.
Oh, okay.
Because it's sand. So the trucks get bogged down. So they can't run full speed. They can't be loaded to capacity.
In the summer.
In the summer. In the winter, everything's frozen.
So they fly.
So they're flat out dead of winter, minus 40 every day. And very little light. You have the northern lights a lot of nights.
So it's dark almost 24/7.
Pretty often. It's far up there.
Wow.
So it's we're going out there in a few weeks. It's just gonna be fun.
So how do you dress for that?
I have no idea.
-40 Fahrenheit?
I don't even know what that feels like.
Like you feel like exposed skin, frostbite like immediately?
I have no idea. I don't know. Like I've never even.
I've been like 0, -5.
I've been like 0.
Yeah.
And it's pretty
brutal.
miserable.
Yeah. Like your ears will get frostbite in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. You're not at all comfortable.
No.
So this is, I don't even know. And then all the Albertans are like, I don't know. You just fucking dress for it. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, they're just doing their thing.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
I'm from Arizona. Fuck.
Yeah. Polar opposite.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Well, that'll be cool though.
It's gotta be really cool.
And how do you take pictures when you can't have your hands out? I don't think you can, at least.
That is, again, I don't know. I need to go
do some research.
Now I need to do some research this weekend on how do we keep the camera batteries warm.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
yeah, because there's nature photographers that'll shoot in the Arctic and Antarctica.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's been figured out before.
Yeah, you gotta just wrap your head around it.
Yeah. But we'll be there for a whole week. We're visiting different contractors, different mines. Like this was the key to the whole fucking kingdom.
Yeah.
And I was so prepared for them to tell me to kick rocks.
Yeah.
And then we just today got tentative approval for Chile, the biggest copper mine in the world.
Wow. Same thing.
Yeah.
That'd
but
be
in
cool.
Chile, but it's so the funny thing is we're going to go in June or July.
Yep.
But that means it's winter because it's the southern hemisphere.
Yeah.
And it's up. It's up at like 12 or 14,000 feet. It's almost higher than any point in the continental U.S.
Yeah.
It's so high they have to retrofit all their trucks.
I was going to say because of
to run at high altitude.
Yeah, high altitude.
Yeah.
It's going to be just as cold there?
Not as cold.
Not as cold.
No.
All right.
Because it's technically in the desert. So
you'll have the altitude issue.
Exactly. Yeah. You have to be medically cleared to go to the mine.
Because of the altitude?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, it's like going to the highest point anywhere in the U.S., but maybe not even.
Mm-hmm.
And then hanging out
you
up
start
there.
from Santiago, which is around sea level.
Then
so
you're
going
up and up and up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a huge change. And I get sick every time I increase in elevation like that. I've been so fucking sick.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything about it.
Oh, yeah. No,
Doesn't matter how healthy you are.
You just got to ride it out.
Just got to send it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that'll be cool.
Okay. Enough about big dirt mining. No one wants to hear about that. So you grew up in the business?
Yeah.
Like you've only known the business.
Pretty much.
How old are you?
27.
Oh shit. So we're the same age.
Okay, yeah.
Oh wow. Great.
Yeah. I turned 27 in September.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So starting from
pretty much
time you were a toddler.
Yeah.
When did your parents start the business?
So my dad started the business as cutting lawns in high school. When he was 16, 17. No, probably even younger. He'll say he started cutting lawns when he was 11.
Yeah.
So it's kind of probably when it did start. He was cutting lawns in high school. Kind of came from a dysfunctional family and had to support himself basically at 14 years old. So went out and got a little push mower and started cutting the neighbors' lawns, and then slowly, finished high school barely. Tried to go to college, and it's funny because his parents were, his mom was a nurse and his dad was a chiropractor. So no background in construction, landscaping. He had a family friend. He kind of grew up and had an interest in that. Family friend of his that he kind of was in like landscape construction that he would like do stuff, little projects with. So he started, cutting lawns in high school, and then just slowly transitioned into landscaping, and then landscape construction and hardscaping, and then bought his first little mini excavator probably in the early 80s, and then slowly just transitioned to small excavation, residential stuff, and then he was kind of doing excavation, like only excavation by like the early 90s. And then from there he was no more landscaping. The company was still called Tompkins. We're still Tompkins Landscaping. We have a DBA, Tompkins Excavating.
Oh, no kidding. Huh.
Yep. So we didn't actually we didn't do that DBA until about like 2012 or so. Mm-hmm. So in the last 10 years or so, because we were trying to like rebrand and get more of the commercial reputation. So yeah, but by the time I was born, he was already doing just dirt work on a smaller scale. So yeah, I started, like, I'm the oldest of three boys. So when I was my brother's 2.5 years younger than me. So by the time he was born, my mom was like, "All right, well, you're taking Kevin with you while I take care of the newborn, the toddler."
Yeah.
And he would change my diaper in the front seat of a triaxle. And I have a picture in my office of me running a PC 220 when I was less than 3 years old. And it's I blew it up and it's in my office, and the handles are over my head, and my feet obviously aren't on the floor.
Yeah. Well, my feet still aren't on the floor.
Yeah. And I still have like visual memories of that. Like, it was his yard at the time, and maybe not that exact day, but around that, being 3-4 years old. And I guess that's where it started.
I've always imagined it would be difficult for the landscaping guy to be looking over at the guy digging the hole, just over there. You kind of drive past, and he has his excavator, and you're like, damn, that's pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah.
If I were a landscaper, I'd be like, that is the natural progression.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I like that.
I want a machine. Yeah. I want a bigger toy.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times people will do their own landscaping.
Yeah.
And the highlight every time, I have this conversation all the time, because it'll be people outside the industry that know I do things with heavy equipment.
Yeah.
They'll always tell me about the time they redid their landscaping, and they rented a skid steer from the Home Depot.
Yeah.
And they're like, it was just so much fun. Man. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. That's
why a lot of us are here. Yeah.
Exactly. That's a career, right? You can do that all the time.
So that was, and then I guess that's where my my passion for it was born. And yeah, so every Saturday, I mean, obviously whenever there was a free moment, I was going to work with my dad, and started running machines really early. Probably earlier than most. Like, I mean, by the time I was 5 or 6, I was like running a machine.
Wild.
Yeah. So I'm 27 now, and I like confidently, comfortably can say like, yeah, I have like more than 20 years experience like running an excavator.
Yeah. Yeah. There's if the industry is for you, there's a huge advantage in growing up in the industry, because you already have so much experience.
Yeah.
In doing what it is you're gonna do. Like, I started at 18.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what a ratchet strap was.
Yeah.
I didn't know what the right end of a shovel was.
Yeah.
Like, I was a fish out of water.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at 18, it's just second nature.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's all you ever known.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, that was, and then like, by the time I was in middle school, high school, like, working all summers, all that, any days off, weekends, going to work. And yeah, the root of this all now is, still that I love to play in the dirt with all these giant Tonka toys. That's
in like middle school or high school. Did you ever dread it? Were you ever like, oh.
Like work?
Yeah.
No.
Really?
No.
It's awesome.
Especially back then, because there was, at the time, like, I didn't have much like not responsibility, but I mean, I wasn't like what I'm dealing with now on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
Dealing with the crap that comes with it. So I was just like, I'm gonna go run a machine. This is great. Like,
sure.
Bring my headphones and go to town. I mean, obviously it was more than just that. Anything late pushing a wheelbarrow, it didn't matter. Whatever we were doing, we were doing. And I never complained about it or dreaded it, and I didn't have to. There was no pressure for me to do that.
Were you paid or unpaid labor?
I guess that's probably a gray area. I was paid sometimes.
There's also a business advantage to having kids in this business.
I was supposed to be paid.
Yeah.
Did I collect all of it? I'm not sure, but I wasn't complaining.
There might be some outstanding.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta look through my notebook. I actually found a note in like something. I was going through like my desk at my parents' house recently, and I found a note from like when I was still in high school. So graduated 2014, so probably like 2012, and it was like a sticky note with like, July 2012, like 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Haven't been like kept track of like what I haven't been paid for. I was like, I should go turn this in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
10 years later.
Dane Cotton, DC Excavation.
Yeah.
I've seen his stuff.
Yeah.
He posted something the other day. His daughter Annie, so she's been doing chores like shoveling the driveway or whatever it is here in Montana, and he made her write out a contract, or it was an invoice to get paid for her
chores.
And she's like 4 years old or 5 years old.
Yeah.
So she's this little girl, and he posted the invoice. So it's it's written out in crayon. It just looks so damn cute, but. Even something that I thought it was really, really cool that, well, if I'm going to work, I need to get paid.
But yeah,
as this little kid, I thought it was super clever.
Yeah, no, that is funny.
So high school, and then you said you went to school.
Yeah,
college.
Yep. So obviously, growing up in this, and going through high school, there was I'm a big component or a fan of supporting, obviously, not going to college and blue collar and construction and trades and all that. Obviously, I didn't, for a long time, I didn't want to go to college. I was like, why do I need to go to college? I don't want to go to college. Mm-hmm. Why would I? I have this in front of me. Obviously, my parents did want me to go to college, regardless of if this is what I wanted to do. That was their take. And as time passed, it grew on me, and then I did eventually decide to go. I mean, they weren't going to, force me completely, but they were highly suggesting it. And again, just to have that option. So I went to college. I went to Northeastern University in Boston. I studied civil engineering. So I was like, okay, I was like, I'm either doing civil engineering or business, some sort of business, major degree. Decided to go with the engineering because that's maybe a little bit closer to what we do. went to college, and by the end of my first year, like, which was my first year, like, away, I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, it, like, finally, like, sank in. I was gone for a year. I was in school. I was like, after being away from it, I was like, this is like what I miss. It's what I want to do. I want to go home and be a part of the family business. I want to definitely be in the industry.
Yeah.
So I did a 5-year program up there. They offer you do 3 co-ops, which are built into your time there. So it's 3 basically 6-month-long internships that are built into your curriculum.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I started my first one, and that's what Northeastern is known for.
Wow.
And in any industry, I mean, across the board, it doesn't matter what you do there. This is what they do. And that was part of the reason why I went there. So my first one I worked for McCourt Construction. They're up in Boston. Mm-hmm. And there was a big heavy highway job, something, not that I wasn't familiar with that that scale of work, bridge work and highway work. So I worked for them for 6 months.
And you're working full time.
Yeah. So you're like, you take a pause from school for 6 months.
That's so cool.
Which was good for me because I don't know if I would have been able to go like semester to semester, like for 8 straight. Yeah. Like, so it was the first year I did 3 semesters, and then it was 6 months off, and then you did semester on, semester off, semester on, and then
interesting.
Yeah. So the first one I did that. I worked for McCourt Construction, heavy highway stuff for 6 months, just doing little miscellaneous stuff, running around. But I guess I got to see the operation, which was cool. Did that. Liked it, but I was like, like, I like that I'm in the industry, but I don't know if that's something that I want to particularly do either. Yeah. Fast forward, my next one, I was like, let me try the design aspect of civil instead of like the construction management. So I came home and I worked for a local engineer, land development, site design company. Worked for them for 6 months, learned how to do, a lot of drafting and AutoCAD and that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. Got to see the back end of, a little bit more of like what we were learning in school kind of come together with calculations and stormwater and all this stuff. So I got to see that process. And then same thing, I walked away from that and I was like, I don't think I can do it. Like, I can't sit at a desk, like, and draw on a computer for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So did that. But again, all great experience. Exposed me to a lot of different things. Third and last one, I actually was doing part-time I came back home, part-time with that engineer again, and part-time with the family company. And I lasted 3 of the 6 months. And then after that, I was like, I told the engineer I was working for, I was like, I'm done. Yeah. Like I didn't want to do it anymore. I was just bored. It just wasn't for me. I was like, I can't sit here in an office and just draw on a computer. Mm-hmm. I want to be out doing things. And you also have a different sense of freedom being in the family business a little bit, and I guess I'm lucky for that because a lot of people don't have the opportunity, but I was like, I have it. I want to take advantage of it. Yeah.
This is something, it's really valuable though, if you do grow up in a family business to leave. I've found that to be super healthy. Yeah. Because if you don't ever make the decision to be there yourself, it just sets up trouble down the road.
Yeah.
And so what you said is I made that decision after being away. Like, I wanted to be there. That is essential. And then 2, I always tell people, if you're in school, not in school, it doesn't matter. Just try different stuff out. Yeah. Like, don't go work for one company all of your 20s. If you nail it, and this is it for me, fantastic.
Yeah.
But especially if a lot of people, I want to get into construction. First thing you should do, you should try, building construction, try civil construction.
Yeah.
Figure that out.
So yeah. And two completely different.
2 totally different ball games. Some people like buildings a lot better. Some people like dirt, pipe, whatever it is a lot better. Okay, great. Now you figured out GC or civil. You say you go civil, go work for a big contractor, go work for a Kiewit, something like that on a big, exciting job. See if that's for you. Go work for a smaller contractor and see if that's for you. Like, try different things out. And that's at least, like, you did that. You tried out the big highway work.
Yep.
Nah, not for me. It's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
It's a lot,
Yeah.
a lot of meetings.
Exactly. That's
a lot of emails.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like you weren't out there building shit.
No, it was just running around. Collecting. Tickets and
like
counting truckloads.
It's not glamorous in the slightest.
Yeah.
You tried the design route. Nah, that's not for me. But you had to try different things out. And I see so many people, especially young people, not trying different things out.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that's
just
what that time's for.
Exactly.
Try stuff out.
And it's just as important to learn what you don't like to do or don't want to do.
Yes.
That's more important. That's what I learned in my 5 years of school, other than going to school. I give the credit to going to college, and the program that I specifically did let me figure out what I really wanted to do.
It's cool. Like, I think every program should be set up like that. That's the only reason I was squared away after school, was because I worked every summer and during the school year at construction companies.
Yeah.
And in my program, you had to go get at least one internship to graduate. So you had to at least work one summer, which I thought was great. And coincidentally, not everybody had a job when they graduated. But in the civil program, you didn't have to have an internship. So these kids, like, you saw the difference between civil in school versus civil engineering.
Yeah.
It's not that similar.
No, not even close. Most of school is calculus and differential equations and structural analysis.
Yeah,
and
you're not designing shit in school.
Yeah.
It's just different. And you watch so many people, they think they're getting prepared for the real world and for a real career. They're getting fooled into thinking they're prepared.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you're not in the slightest. You have this background knowledge. That's great.
And some math background.
Some math background, which is great. You need it. But you're not even slightly prepared without any kind of real world experience.
And I think even on that, particularly in the educational world of civil and any engineering in general, I think it's mind-boggling that almost anybody that I talk to, and when I went to school, there's like day one on the job in the civil engineering world is you're going to be a drafter. Like, you're going to work in AutoCAD or whatever the equivalent is. There's not one iota of teaching how to use AutoCAD in my 5 years of school. The only reason people knew how to do it because 95% of the kids did the co-op program. So they worked for somebody in their first 4 months. They learned how to use AutoCAD.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, this is crazy.
Well, I always find it in engineering or even in the construction program, it was, you had to look it up in the book, or you had to know it. Yeah. But you in civil engineering, you have to bring your books in, you have to look up the manual and this and that, and you're just sitting there thinking, this is dumb because I know I can Google it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And if I was working for a company, they wouldn't want me referencing the big textbook.
Doing equations that are,
They would want me to just Google the damn thing.
Yeah. No, exactly.
I found it really antiquated, which I appreciate teaching the basics. I get that.
Yeah.
But also, it's like, I know this is like 15 years behind what we're learning right now.
Oh, yeah. It's so dated. Yeah. And I could go on and on about that.
It's
a whole nother topic of conversation. Yeah.
So you wrap up school, you go to work at the family business.
Yeah. So probably I was there for 5 years. So second or third year, after it really sank in, this is what I'm doing. I pretty much self-taught and took over all of our bidding and estimating while in school.
How do you learn bidding and estimating on your own?
So we at the time we were kind of just starting to transition into more of like solely commercial work, and I was really the big driving factor behind that, because this is, my parents were like, okay, you want to come into the business. It kind of like gave everybody a little bit more sense of energy, because
was it residential work?
Yeah, so he did mostly residential. He had done commercial on and off, but it was, he did some bigger jobs, like a BJ's and some bigger subdivision work, but it was a lot of smaller residential work. So we were trying to get, that was my vision and my goal for the company. Once I, kind of hit me, say end of high school, I was like, I want to grow this, and kind of get to the next level. So my dad is computer illiterate. He can barely take a picture on his iPhone or send a text message. So he's not doing And he did all that stuff. He did all the proposals and bidding and estimating. Once he got to, we were looking at, bigger jobs, bigger sets of plans. He didn't have the time and the energy to sit down and bid a big commercial job on a set of hard plans.
Yeah, but was he like, so was his bid process like on a notepad?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Spreadsheets and notepads.
Yeah, spreadsheet. Yeah.
Yep. And so then we were farming it out. We were sourcing out to a local guy who did site work bidding. And we did a couple of jobs with him. We won a few. And so I saw what he was doing. And so I learned obviously you have to learn how to read plans. Mm-hmm. That's step one.
Yeah.
I was introduced to Bluebeam.
How do you learn how to read plans?
I guess that was one of the other things that kind of came naturally, but my dad, and he'll still talk about it today, he's like, when you were 10 years old, I had plans open at the kitchen table, and he was always big on just talking out loud, like what he was thinking, looking at, even when he was driving a truck or running machine, he always was, and I guess I was a sponge. And from when I was a little kid, and it just stuck with me.
Yeah.
So he would, like, from before I could even remember, we were looking at plans and he would show me things, and then I would just open up a set of plans when I was probably in high school and just sit there for an hour once or twice a week and just look at them, look at different pages, and just if you spend the time and if you can kind of have a little bit of a vision, most of it's called out. You got to just kind of know what you're looking for. So it's just time. You have to you got to set your eyes on it. There's no way somebody be like, oh, just because every engineer draws plans different. They use different line work, different symbols, different everything. It's one of those things. It's like seat time. You got to just look at enough set of plans.
And I think that's something a lot of people don't do. And if I were young in the industry trying to figure something out, regardless of where I was, and I didn't know how to read plans, I would be trying to figure out how I could learn how to read plans, whether that's asking my foreman for an old set of plans, whether that's just asking the boss, I just want to learn what we're building. Yeah. Can you print me out a set of plans? Yeah. Most of the time, you're probably not going to get told to kick rocks.
No.
I'd be surprised. And if you are, then just Google, if you're in New York, New York Department of Transportation,
just look at, you can find
all the plans are there.
Yeah.
It's all public information, and go through a plan set and just start at page 1 and just start working your way through the damn thing and figure stuff out, because you'll be better at your job, whatever it is in construction. If you can understand plans.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's the basis of it all.
Yes. But a lot of people don't know how to read plans.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
People building stuff don't know how to read plans.
Yeah. No, I know. So learn how to read plans, and then got Bluebeam, which is a 2-dimensional takeoff thing that pretty much which I'm sure you've heard of, every construction company in the world uses
that program now. I'm never going back.
So I was introduced to that at when I was working from a court, and I was like, well, this is a no-brainer. It's $300 like one-time buy.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So bought myself Bluebeam, opened up Excel, started making spreadsheets, doing takeoffs. And then we still to this day, we don't do our own earthwork takeoffs. I sub them out to a company that's all in Ohio. That's all they do is they do earthwork takeoffs for us, and they do all of our GPS models.
Is that so? They do both.
Yeah.
Wow. Does that work out pretty well?
Yeah, because they do a lot of the work for the takeoff that they need for the model. So if I bid a job, they have like the foundation on their end kind of together.
Yeah, there you have it. Yeah.
So I still source it out. Maybe one day we'll get the program, but it's very time intensive to sit there and do the takeoff. So it's
like AgTech.
That's one of them. I was actually looking at the Trimble software, which I think is what this company uses. I don't know what it's called.
Who bought AgTech? What's the company? Who bought AgTech?
I don't remember, but I know you.
Dang it. Yeah, sorry, it's not Trimble.
Yeah.
It's a different one.
No, yeah, but Trimble, we actually had a demo from.
I'm sorry, it's a parent company of AgTech. I really apologize.
Yeah, so we were looking at the Trimble software for the takeoffs, and it was just the investment would be fine, not even the money to buy it, but it's like just the time it can take to do it.
Yeah.
I was like, I spent $500 or whatever, $1,000, and they do a huge takeoff report that has 20 pages for me, and they just send it back a week later.
Sure.
So it's kind of right now that works best for us.
But do you farm out any of the bidding anymore?
No.
Okay, so you guys do all that now.
Yeah, so I do all that personally right now still. We don't sub any of that out. I took over since probably like 2016 or so.
Yeah.
I've done it all. And that we used to pay that guy obviously per job to bid, so that was we were very picky and choosy, and we were limited, like, we spent $1,500 a pop to get this job.
Oh, it was
bid.
just a flat.
Yeah, it was just like he would look at the plan and say, yeah, this is $1,500, $1,200, $2,000, depending on like how long he thought it would take him.
Yeah, yeah.
So to spend $1,500, $2,000 at a clip just to bid a job, that's hard,
Yeah.
So then once I took over and we were doing it ourselves, now it was like the volume you can bid is way higher.
Yeah.
So, and it's all a numbers game. You gotta throw enough stuff at the wall, and eventually it'll stick.
Mm-hmm.
So now I bid about $100 million a year worth of work, which is between like 40 and 60 projects I bid a year.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Roughly how many do you aim to win?
Like 4 to 5.
Yeah. So it's like a 10%.
Yeah. Usually by quantity, I'm at like 10 to 15%.
Yeah.
And by value, we're at like 30%.
That's why I spent time in an estimating office.
Yeah.
I never enjoyed it because it just drove me nuts. You'd work so hard on something.
Yeah.
And then it all comes down to this one date where they pull everybody's numbers out of an envelope, like DOT.
Well,
this was for DOT work. It wasn't commercial resident. So they literally have, bid opening, pull it all out, and you look at it on the computer and you're like, we're fourth.
Yeah. All that work.
Fuck. And you go over to your desk, all your plan sets that you've marked up and tabs on, you've been studying for months, just throw it in the trash.
Start over. Another one. Try again. Yeah.
Yeah. And watch someone else build that, build that damn job.
Yeah.
And I know that's part of the game, but I could not wrap my mind around that.
Yeah.
Because you can go down such a dark path.
Oh yeah. It's, and that's why we got to where we bid the volume and we can comfortably get what we need.
Yeah.
Because it's all a numbers game. It's a game of, statistics and probability to a degree.
Sure.
So, and that's what we don't do almost zero public work, like sealed bid, prevailing wage, anything like that. It just doesn't work for us great right now. We end up doing like 1 or 2 small jobs a year, but for part of that reason is you do all this work and it's just literally a number. Like we pride ourselves on building relationships with people and meeting and negotiating and going through that process. And, building a relationship with somebody and showing your reputation and who you are as a company and as people, and sell that part of the business, not just we submitted a bid to the DOT and
sure
we were second. Means nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why it's part of the reason why, one aspect of why we don't do any work like that.
So right now, you've been working in the business for a few years now, full time.
Yeah, since 2009, spring of 2019, like officially back.
Yeah.
In person, full time. Yeah.
And both your parents work in the business.
Yeah.
'Cause your dad started it, but your mom's also a badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's the owner of the company right now, or 51% owner.
Yeah. Yeah. She definitely has a name for herself.
Yeah.
In the industry.
Yeah.
I've seen her all over the place.
Yeah. Yep.
So explain her involvement, because that's a very important part of the story.
So she got involved pretty quickly after they got married, which was 3 years before I was born. So she quit her job at the time and decided to come help my dad with the business. And again, that was a totally different ball game back there. It was just doing, helping with payroll and paperwork and billing and all that stuff. And then, probably, right when we actually changed our name to actually Tompkins Excavating from landscaping is when she, became 51% owner. And my dad was 49 and became a, woman minority owned business. Still not officially certified through the New York State.
Yeah.
Because New York State sucks.
Yes. You said it, not me.
Yeah. So she's on her third appeal.
Wow.
Yeah. And
really?
5 years later. Yeah. 6 years later. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
and
wild.
they claim that they have all this money and this, but they have nobody to give it to. It's why aren't you giving people who legitly are a part of this? And the biggest thing they were hanging up on is that she didn't contribute any of her own money into the business. But she runs the business. She's the face of the company. She's involved in every day-to-day part of the business. Really for the last 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So she's federally certified. Because even I know it's in the public sector there's that part of it, but even in the private sector there's more and more of that creeping in where we're doing development for a local developer who does a lot of affordable housing, which is connected through state money, and they need to also hit their goals and quotas of minority and all those things. So that was the reason why she did that, and she is legit involved. It's not you hear some stories where people are just sign their wife up to.
Well, I feel I don't know if it's abused like that anymore because I feel like people were made aware of that trick. But what would happen is so you have these minority owned business requirements.
Yeah.
So you have to say award 10% of the contract value to minority owned businesses.
Yeah.
And as a woman owned business, you qualify as a minority owned business.
Yeah, exactly.
Or disadvantaged DBE, I think it is.
They're sometimes the same category, sometimes they're different.
It depends. Yeah. So it's DBE or MBE, whatever it is. But you have to be, when it's government money, you have to be approved by the government, essentially.
If it's state money, it has to be through the state.
Yeah. So it would be, Jerry and Linda. So Jerry runs the company. Linda has nothing to do with the damn company.
But they just put her name on paper. Yeah.
Yeah. Jerry sells Linda 51% of the business. They become a woman-owned company.
Yeah.
But she has no involvement in the day-to-day.
Exactly.
Other than being married to Jerry.
Yeah.
And now Jerry can go get this pot of money that's far less competitive.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But now it's, some people, they do it legitimately.
Yeah.
Like your parents are trying to do.
Yeah, and they're making it impossible.
Yeah.
So
but is anything easy in the state of New York?
No.
Yeah. So it's kind of in line with everything else.
Yeah, exactly. So she's working on that. And she runs me and her right now. My dad, honestly, he runs a job.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically a foreman right now, which is what he was kind of feeling not sure where he belonged in the last couple of years, with me stepping in, taking over. My next brother's involved. We've grown where we have, foremen, field leaders that run their own jobs and their own crews, and they're kind of on autopilot. And he didn't know where to go, so we had him doing different things, and we all agreed, and our business coach agreed that you are going to run a job, because he loves to he wants to feel a sense of physical production at the end of the day. When he drives around and flounders and talks on the phone, he's like, I didn't do anything for the last 6 months. So now he's out there, he's running a job, he's in bulldozer 10 hours a day, 5-6 days a week.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah. And he's big on the training and the developing. So we try to let him we try to give him new people, like 1 or 2 at a time, and try to let him work with them and show them what we call the Tompkins way.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you've been doing something for 20 years, that might be great, but we do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he's trying to get everybody in the whole company to be like that and have that training mindset and culture, because we bought into that. It sank in a few years ago that, like, no matter what industry, no matter what you're doing, you need to train.
Mm-hmm.
So
go figure.
Yeah.
You said you have a business coach.
Yeah.
How does that work? Or when did that come about?
Probably 10-ish years ago.
Oh, so it's been a while.
Yeah. They were working, I don't know how somebody locally was working with them. Their company out of Pennsylvania. And they were actually mostly consulting painting contractors. Because there was 2 brothers. One brother worked in corporate America. The other brother owned a painting contractor. Corporate guy was very successful, retired early. Brother was like, come help me develop the business side of my painting company. Painting company is huge. They have 150 employees. They do like $15 million a year in like painting bedrooms, like crazy.
Yeah,
like when their average job is like $2,500. That's a lot of painting.
Like
for us,
a lot of job numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Like in commercial site work, a job that's $5 million, you need to do 3 jobs. Like they're doing like thousands of jobs a year.
Yeah.
So they slowly started consulting more and more painting companies, and then they branched out, and now they do consulting, still like a high concentration in painting, but they've reached out to other kind of trades. So we're one of the few like excavation companies. They have some landscapers and paving contractors. So we've worked with them for a long time.
What are those conversations like?
So a lot of different things. Dissecting numbers and understanding your numbers. Training, developing people, how to handle people, building processes, getting owners what they call out of the hourglass. Not every grain of sand has to go through you.
Yeah.
Building org charts, those type of things that we've been working on, more specifically the last couple of years. But like so many different, it's like kind of what you need at the time, and you're assigned a coach, and you work with the coach, and we have 1 call a month, I think, for an hour. We go through things. We have an agenda. We have assignments, so to speak, that we're supposed to be working on and bring back to the next meeting. They have conferences that we go to a couple times a year that we meet as a company. They bring all their clients, and they have different workshops on numbers, on leadership, on workforce development, on situational leadership, all of those different things that they try to work on with you. And that's been a game changer for us, because we've learned so much, like in the last, again, takes time. I think 10 years later, we're finally like seeing the results of it. It's not like you're going to do something for a year and be like, oh yeah, we worked with this coach and we're like great now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of companies, and there's a lot of people like your dad. They just love doing work. They love building stuff. They love moving dirt. They get this excavating business as a result, but the excavating business doesn't operate all that effectively.
Yeah,
because they're good at building stuff. They're not good at operating a business.
Yeah,
but then at the same time, they're on this little island because every excavation contractor, it's such a fragmented industry.
Yeah.
That everybody knows each other, but not a lot of people are best pals by any means.
Yeah.
And so you can't go ask the guy down the street how he goes.
How you doing it?
Yeah. How are you doing it? Because, well, even if I don't bid against you right now, I don't know. We might bid against each other down the road. Like everybody's so fixated on bidding against each other and competing that no one really helps unless you get into that kind of upper echelon. And you can talk in different regions. So it's interesting that you guys have kind of an outside voice.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's been a big, and we've done a lot of like family aspect side of it, succession planning,
sure.
What that's going to look like, what their plan is for the next 5 or 10 years. to transition out, if that ever happens, if they want to do that, what it looks like for me and my brother as we get further along. So yeah, all those different things that are not easy.
Yeah,
they take a long time to figure out.
Well, even just having those conversations is tricky.
Yeah.
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 What's the difference between your mindset and your parents' mindset, would you say? Like, what's the generational difference?
That's a good one. So I've been fortunate that a lot of the ideas that I have brought forward have been welcomed pretty easily. And I say that, like, how I referred to my dad as computer illiterate, like literally can barely Google anything. So I've also first learned about GPS on equipment when I worked for McCourt, and they were using it. And one of their guys who kind of ran that stuff was talking to me about it. He was like, "You're not using GPS?" I was like, "I've like seen it in the magazines, but never even like thought to even stop and read the ad." You know what I mean? Like, and he was like talking about it, and then I was like, "All right, this makes sense." And then I went home and talked about it, and he was like all for it. Which, like, you hear these stories of like these old school guys that are like, "No way, no how, absolutely not. Who needs that shit?" Like, and
now when I hear that, I just roll my eyes.
Yeah,
it's like, bro, we're arguing about GPS in 2023. What?
And he had his he had a laser controlled bulldozer in the mid 80s. It was like the first one, like, in the area, like, that nobody had seen anything like it. So it was not GPS, it was just laser. He was doing like ball fields.
Yeah.
And you could just set it with one or, two-dimensional, 1% that way, 1% that way, and go. It was completely automated. Same idea as it is now, but it was like one of the first of its kind. And he said people would like line the fences watching this thing work. They'd like get down on their belly and be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, so he was like ahead of his time in this weird way. Because when you see him now, like, he can barely use a cell phone. But in the 80s, he was running an automated bulldozer. It's kind of ironic. But so he's always been for, like, even though he can't do it himself, he's always been, like, a big fan of staying with the times and staying ahead of the times.
Yeah. But he's not necessarily going to find the ideas because he's just in his world.
Well, exactly. So, we bring things. I mean, he's very ingenious. He has a brain. I mean, he can like think of so many things, and he has that vision. But yeah, like, me and my brothers will see stuff online on Instagram, like, oh, we got to try this or do that. And he's like, that's a good idea. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, the difference, but back to that, I don't know. That's an interesting, I've never been asked that one. Because like I said, I feel like I haven't been faced a lot of pushback on a lot of things. So I've been like, everybody's kind of like been on the same team in those aspects. So
what, beyond GPS, because GPS, that's kind of low hanging fruit. Like, what are the other things that you've suggested? Hey, maybe we ought to do this.
So the GPS, we do that. Drones. My brother was really big into that. He was like, wait, when DJI was first coming out, he was like just all into drones in general. So we were like flying drones over sites, like just for pictures. Like, before it was like a big thing, and like we'd send them to clients, and they were like, wow, this is cool. Yeah,
I started doing it. My friend had a drone. It was in 2016. So it was still like early days of drones, like Phantom 3.
Yeah.
I think the Phantom 4 had just come out.
Yeah.
And he bought it. And it was the first time I'd ever seen a drone before.
Yeah.
And I would fly it at the quarry I was at with Kiewit. And I would send it to the the top the top brass at Kiewit would want to see the pictures, because they were just blown. They're like, that is crazy. You can get these images. Like, how do you do this? They just don't even. Yeah. It's so different than anything they've ever seen.
Because before that, it was like the only time we got aerial shots from like a helicopter.
From a helicopter, plane
which
flyover.
Nobody did that on a regular basis.
No.
Yeah, so we had drones, and I remember where we were working. It was before I graduated high school, so like 2013, we were flying drones.
Damn.
Yeah, like just for pictures.
Yeah.
And now we're using them. We're just starting to get into them for like the earthwork and the 3D drone stuff. We do that. We're in the process of actually signing up for we signed up for Equipment 360.
Oh, nice.
And we're starting with that, but on a smaller scale, like 5 or 6 years ago, we got like all of our foremen are using tablets, and we have a program that works okay for now. It's we're kind of outgrowing it, but to do all their daily paperwork is digital. So we've been doing nothing earth shattering, but all those little things that are with the times, and
sure.
maybe even a touch ahead of the times for maybe even a company our size. So now we're implementing the Equipment 360. We're starting with that. Nice. We have actually our first call in a couple of weeks, or not our first step of part of implementation. So that'll be a job. And then if that goes well, we'll maybe next year we'll do the heavy job part of it.
Yeah, that's a whole other animal.
So we're starting with the Equipment 360.
Sure. How many people do you have at the company?
About 35.
Oh, that's a handful.
Yeah. I mean, we have about 30, and then about including the 4 of us, but so about all in about 35. Yeah.
So your brother works at the company now?
Yeah.
What about your younger brother?
He's still in school.
Does he have any interest?
As of right now, no. He wants to go into the finance world.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. But it'll be. Do you work well with your brother?
Yeah. Yeah, we work well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came in 2 years ago almost. He graduated, worked for 9 months in the basement. It was after COVID, looking at spreadsheets, and he was like, I'm done.
Yeah.
He didn't even tell anybody he was quitting his job. He quit his job on Friday and was like, yeah, I quit yesterday. I'm coming to join the family business. We're like, oh, okay.
So what does he do?
He does a little bit of everything also. We also have a real estate and development end of our, it's kind of like a sister company that we do some smaller developing. So he manages a lot of that stuff, like some small multifamily developments.
And then the excavating company will do the work.
Yeah. So we don't have any like actual employees on that side. It's all subcontractor work, but going through the process for getting approvals and working with the architects and engineers. And he's the next project we're starting now. He's gonna be the GC, point of contact, to get the thing built. So he does that. He handles that, a lot of that stuff, or he's starting to take over that.
Gotcha.
And then but he'll do a little bit. He drives a truck. I mean, he does a lot of coordinating, like with the foreman, like material and trucking and equipment moves, and kind of manages that right now. And then just whatever's needed.
Where was the company when you started a few years ago? Like, is it bigger now?
Yeah. So we in the last like 5 or 6 years have grown quite a bit. We were doing in the like 2012 to 14 range, like just about $1 million a year in revenue, and now we're doing 8 to 10.
Oh yeah, that's substantial.
Yeah. So that's kind of, so from like high school through now, we've grown like almost 10 times.
Has part of that been, well, hey, now there's a next generation coming in, so there's a definitive long-term future.
Exactly. Yeah. And I brought that energy, and I had the vision and the goal to want to get to that next level and do the bigger jobs, be a little bit bigger company, and do the commercial work. And the fact that I was here and I'm going to be here long term gave the buy-in from my parents to be like, okay, now we're going to keep working hard for this as a family, instead of just like, well, what are we going to do? Like, how much longer do we want to do this if it was just them?
Yeah.
So that has definitely been a driving force. And then the fact that I literally took over the estimating, that's like what made it happen at the same time. So between, those two aspects, that, is what has kind of switched it to longer term thinking. Have
you made them nervous with some of the projects you've been? Or has it been gradual? Like, maybe we'll bid this one a little bit bigger.
It's been somewhat gradual. We haven't taken on anything that's been like crazy jump. Went from a $2 million job to a $20 million job. Mm-hmm. We've taken on stuff that we can handle. In 2019 was like our biggest like growing pains year. we went from like 3 million to like 7 million in 1 year. And that was like just chaos.
Yeah.
It was like we went from like 10 employees to like 25. And it was just, we were like, we could flying by the seat of our pants 24/7. Like we're like just keeping up with like schedules. And it was like the most stressful like 9 months of all of our lives.
Yeah, that's how last year was for us in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it just kicked the shit out of me.
Yeah, it's scary.
Dude, it takes a toll.
Yeah.
Everybody is so, like, people that haven't been involved in a business that's growing like that or at that level, they're always like, that's great. And you're like,
Yeah.
yeah. And in the back of your head, you're like,
is this the right move?
I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, woof, this is,
It's scary. Yeah.
this is, we're holding on right now.
Yeah.
But like we've started to figure things out.
Yeah. And that's,
dare I say,
that's
until we go make the same mistake again. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of where we're at. So now we're like 2-3 years later, and like we're doing more than we did that year. But like, obviously, there's moments and there's days that are hard and suck. But like overall, we're like we're fine.
Yeah.
Like
you're on the back of like a bull.
Yeah,
like,
we're not like just like on edge 24/7,
Sure.
like not knowing what's gonna blow up, not knowing who's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
Like we're chilling. We're getting work done. We're not like working like 7 days a week, 14 hours a day. It's like we can just work like a normal human beings.
What's the conversation like at Thanksgiving dinner?
So that was a big thing we worked on as a family in the last couple of years, because it was hard. Like when I was living home still, it was like, especially when I came back from college, there was that year when we were like going crazy also. You wake up at like 5:30, go to work. You're working all day till 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock. 6 was an early day.
Yeah.
8, 9, more like the normal. 6, sometimes 7 days a week. Get home from work at 8 or 9. And then what are we talking about at dinner at 9 o'clock? Work.
Mm-hmm.
And then what are we talking about as we're like putting our heads to the pillow? Work. And then we didn't work this Sunday, but what are we talking about? Work. So we've come a long way as a family, because that's a joint effort. So we do our best. My dad, it's his passion. It's also one of the only things he knows.
Mm-hmm.
And he just wants to just always talk about it, which is fine. But sometimes it's like, all right, well, yeah, we're at Thanksgiving dinner. We'll talk about that dessert. Like,
Sure.
So it is talked about a lot. But we have slowly learned how to set boundaries as a family and not talk about work, like, because that was draining me, where it was, I mean, there wasn't a second of break.
Sure.
It didn't turn off.
Have you guys ever paused in the winter at all?
Not really.
It's always been all year round.
Yeah. Even when we were smaller, and we would still have little stuff going, but now we're just as busy as we were all summer. So there's
Sure.
no real break. Like, it's not like we're a paving contractor. It's like, oh, we can like pack up and take a break and work on all the things we want to work on in our shop and in our office and as a company. It's like, and then we always think like, oh, the winter, like we still even think that, like, you think the winter is like a time to slow down, and it's really not.
I feel like that's happened for most companies, especially with just where backlog's at right now. They can't really afford to stop.
No.
And then people want they know it won't be as economical to build during the winter, but they don't really care, because they'd rather get something done than to wait 3 months.
Yeah.
So it used to be, or at least I think it used to be, most contractors would slow down the winter, but now it's really, like you said, just paving. I mean, paving, anybody that can't work because of temperature is one thing. In places with a ton of snow, like I'm sure there's not a lot of construction right now in Buffalo, with
5 feet of snow on the ground.
New York. Yeah. But otherwise, everybody
keeps going.
Seems like they're blowing and going. I mean, weather too, like water.
Like we're dealing with that. It's like just mud holes because it rains, and then you get freeze thaw, and it's just, and it ain't going to dry till May.
Yeah.
So it's that part. Yeah, it's definitely slower, but nobody cares. Like you're not getting paid extra really for the winter work. It's just how your contracts fall, and you just keep going and do the best you can.
Sure.
Make our decisions as we need to. But yeah, there's no break.
How's hiring been for you guys?
Not bad. It's not easy. It's definitely not easy. It's a 24. It's continuous. It doesn't matter if we have enough people or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
We're always, ads are always in. We're always trying to recruit, always interviewing. Definitely not easy. But that's part of why we've gotten where we are a little bit, is because it's just has never stopped. It hasn't stopped in years. Like it just, like, the ads don't come down. The process doesn't stop. Like, we're interviewing people almost every single day.
So if someone comes to you, and they're a great hand, you don't really have a place for them, but you say, yeah, hey, we'll find a place for you.
Yeah. Especially if we think it's somebody that might be valuable.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're just like, we'll figure it out.
From your perspective, what do you think about the whole workforce issue?
It's definitely an issue.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. We all know it. And we've shifted our mindset, and we're trying to, like, get the culture across the board in our whole entire company is the training and developing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the chances of you finding a guy that's been running an excavator for 30 years that's like a 9 or a 10 is almost impossible. Like,
yeah,
we in management level have accepted that, and it's not going to happen. We're trying to convey this to our field leaders and our foremen and because they're just like, we need better people.
Yeah.
We know.
Can get that. Yeah, you can get that all day long, but until they're bought in on, hey, here's kind of how the world works now, nothing really changes.
Yeah, and we are slowly getting there, and we're almost there. And they're realizing that you have to work with them and develop them and tell them dozens of times things. And I think they finally realize that, like, that there aren't just like 10 guys sitting on the bench just ready to come in that are just like aces. So, and our best people are the ones that have been with us for years that we've developed.
We were talking about this today. We were Dan, who was a former Marine, he was like, hey, the Marines have always had this recruiting system that's worked really well, and it was kind of tailored to, let's find the misfits. Let's find the people that don't quite fit in, because that's exactly who we need. I feel like our industry is kind of in the same place, where we are trying to find the people that they're not really fitting in a lot of other places. Yeah. But that's not a bad thing. That's what makes our industry industry. Yeah. Everybody jokes all the time. You have to be a little, like, for lack of a better term, fucked up in the head to be in this business.
Yeah.
It's completely insane.
Yeah.
But so we need to find those people that aren't, they're not going to be a rocket scientist.
Yeah.
It's a different level of intelligence. It's this, it's a different person.
Yeah.
And it's a person that oftentimes you must mold and foster into what you need them to be.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes 12 times. But I think everybody has needed to be told 12 times something.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
doesn't matter who you are.
Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
But there's just this, like, I don't know. These people have forgotten. I think they're expecting this next generation to learn exactly how they learned. And that's just a flawed, just flawed logic.
Doesn't work.
Yes. And I don't care if you learned in a superior way. Like, that's just not, the world doesn't work like that anymore. Yeah. So you can try to apply that method all day long, but it doesn't line up with today's reality.
Yeah, no.
And until we accept that, like, we're just going to be
going in a circle.
Hawkins, I go to all these meetings, I listen to all these workforce development conversations where let's just walk in a circle. Let's have the same conversation. Yeah. Let's just go echo. Oh yeah, we need more kids in trade. Like, we need more kids in trade schools. We need to go talk to high school. Like, just same talking points. Just circle, circle, circle. No. We need to do something different.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, and that's what we're trying to do on our own smaller scale. Is internally, and and we're trying to think outside the box. Like we work with a local, I don't know if you heard of BOCES. It's a vocational school. It's like kids in high school.
Sure.
They want to kind of learn a trade. I mean, it's anything. It could be, makeup and hair, but they have, masonry and carpentry and electrical, and they have they call it urban forestry, which is kind of like forestry work. And but there's also
growing weed.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm going to start referring to urban forestry as growing weed in your basement.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah, that's what they call this high school program, where they get to use some equipment, and they learn. They have a mini excavator and a little loader and a skid steer, and
that's cool.
The kids go. So we go in and talk to them a couple times a year. Like because it's a different class all the time, and we've actually hired, 3 or 4 kids from there, and
that's
one of them is one of our best kids, and he's been with us it'll be 3 years this spring.
Wow!
And he's one of our best guys right out of high school.
It's like anything. I mean, it's like equipment. You spend money on equipment, you get a return on investment in your equipment, but you know that it's like I have to invest up front to go get this return.
Yeah.
People, it's the exact same thing. And yet, that doesn't make any sense to me. Because we can't see it. We can't touch it. We can't feel it. And
it's hard to figure out where to go with it and how to do it. And
but you put an investment in going and talking, for example. And we need to do it repeatedly. Once it isn't going to work, we need to make this a repeated effort, repeated investment. But then you just get even one kid that latches on, that you can teach, that becomes something great.
Yeah.
The return that one individual can create within your organization, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, hundreds of thousands in revenue.
Yeah.
That you just earned from what is a very small investment.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And you just changed someone's life.
Yeah.
And
that's like when we go in there, even if the kids don't come on board, like a lot of them, like we're the only company, only like excavation company. They have like other like the tree companies will come in because it's kind of like an overlap, but like we're the only company in the area that's ever like come talk in this class. And like even in general, the kids just love seeing it, and like we show all the pictures on the website and videos, and they're like, wow, that's so cool. And we're like, yeah, you could come run that $500,000 truck when you're 18 years old, and like
we'll pay you a shitload of money to
play
do it.
Giant, like, wow, that thing is huge. Like
yeah
it's cool. So yeah, like some of them have no clue of what's out there, and that's what we're just trying to do our part, even in just raising awareness in general, and not only for us but just for the industry as a whole.
Just imagine though, if every contractor did that. There's over 200,000 contractors in our industry. How many schools are there? I don't know.
Yeah.
The problem would start to solve itself pretty quick.
Yeah. If they all did that. Yeah.
Everybody did that. Everybody did we just need everybody to do just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, because then it would multiply.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool. We'll have to come visit you guys at some point when we're up there.
Yeah, definitely. Be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd love to see what you guys are doing. Then I said, Dietz boys are down the road. It seems.
Yeah, they're within an hour from us. Yeah,
Patillo's in the neighborhood.
Patillo's. They're actually doing another job. The one in Brewster.
Are they?
Because we're working in Brewster also right now, like 5 minutes down the road.
Really?
Yeah. Then we're working 5 minutes down the road from their other one. Well, I don't know if they're done in Newburgh.
It's Brewster, not Brewster.
No, it's Brewster. Brewster.
Depends if you're in Boston or New York.
Yeah, Brewster.
Yeah, Brewster. We'll get up there at some point and try to see you guys.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
How do people follow along? Are you on social media?
Yeah, we're on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's Tompkins _excavating. Facebook, LinkedIn. I'm not on LinkedIn a lot. I need to be better.
Is your mom doing anything ConExpo again?
No.
Are you guys going to ConExpo?
Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, we'll be there.
Nice.
You'll be there, right?
Yeah. Everybody has asking me, are you going to ConExpo?
Like,
I'm going to ConExpo.
Nah.
Yeah. I'm tied up that week.
Yeah.
Of course.
We've only known about it for 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be there. We'll be there the whole time. We're going Monday night through Saturday.
Okay. Yeah, you're going the whole time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we're bringing, me and my dad, my brother, and 1 or 2 of our guys are coming.
Sweet.
So it'll be cool.
And I guess this is a good opportunity to plug ConExpo. If you're not going to ConExpo, go. Just go.
Oh yeah,
it's a good time. You've been.
I've been going since I think 6. I've been to like 6 or 7 con expos. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's one of the coolest things you'll ever see.
Yeah, that's so a Bauma. There are people that took great pride in how many Baumas have you been to, and one of the guys, it was like his 15th or something like that.
Wow.
And it's every 3 years.
Same thing.
So that's that's 45 years of going to the same show. So and those would be so casual. Oh, I think this is the 15th. 15th.
Yeah. My dad's gone to 1 or 2 more con expos than I have, so he's probably on almost not 10, but almost.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's been around a while.
Yeah.
If you're not going, I would highly recommend it.
Oh yeah. No, if you're in the industry, there's nothing like it.
No.
You can see everything under the sun.
And it's once every 3 years. A lot of people get confused. They're like, "Oh, I'll just go next year."
No. You gotta wait. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be 2026 the next time.
Yeah.
And who the hell knows what's going to happen in between now and then?
Yeah, you should go now.
I would hedge your bets. I would go now.
It almost didn't happen last time. You don't know what's going to happen.
They got damn close last time. Yeah. Right on. Well, appreciate you coming by.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
See you guys at Con Expo.
Oh, yeah.